Fathers, what did your daughter's boyfriend do that forever changed how you saw him? As a cop, I hated the idea of my 17-year-old daughter dating anyone. But when she brought home this boy named Pete, I lost it. He had a motorcycle, tattoos, and that smug smile that made me want to run his name through the system. I made it my mission to break them up. I'd randomly show up at places they hung out, flash my badge around, and remind Pete that I knew how to make bodies disappear. But this kid never flinched. He'd just smile and say, "Have a good day, sir." When he came for dinner the first time, I placed my gun on the table next to my plate. My wife kicked me under the table, but I didn't care. Pete just looked at it and said, "Nice Glock 19, sir. My uncle's got the same one at his security firm." That's when the real torture began. I started making him come over every weekend to bond. I'd have him help me with the most back-breaking chores I could think of. Reshingling the roof in July, digging out a tree stump by hand, moving every piece of furniture in the house to steam clean the carpets. This kid never complained. He'd show up at 7 a.m. sharp, already wearing work clothes, even brought his own work gloves. When I'd try to wear him down with endless tasks, he'd just say, "What's next, sir?" One Saturday, I had him helping me rebuild the deck. I was being extra harsh, making him redo boards that were perfectly fine. Around noon, my daughter brought us water. As she walked away, I caught Pete watching her. But it wasn't the way most teenage boys looked at girls. He had this soft smile, like he was watching something precious. I decided to test him. "You know she's way out of your league, right?" He wiped his forehead and said, "Oh, I know, sir. Trust me, I know. That's why I'm here every weekend letting you test me, because she's worth it." I was about to respond when we heard screaming from inside the house. We both ran in to find my wife on the kitchen floor. She'd slipped on some water and couldn't move her leg. Before I could even process what was happening, Pete had already called 911. He rattled off our address, my wife's symptoms, and even mentioned her previous back surgery. Then he grabbed our first aid kit and started checking her vitals, talking to her calmly the whole time. When I asked how he knew what to do, he shrugged and said, "Been taking EMT classes at night. Figured with you being a cop, sir, you'd want your daughter dating someone who could handle emergencies." The ambulance came, and as they loaded my wife in, Pete handed me a folded piece of paper. It was a list of my wife's medications and allergies that my daughter had mentioned once months ago. He'd remembered them all. At the hospital, while we waited for the surgery results, I finally asked him, "Why didn't you ever tell me about the EMT classes?" He looked me straight in the eye and said, "Because I'm not doing it to impress you, sir. I'm doing it for her." That's when it clicked. All those weekends of brutal chores, my intimidation tactics, the constant tests, this kid wasn't trying to prove himself to me. He was proving himself to himself, making sure he was worthy of my daughter. 2 years later, when he asked for my blessing to propose, I didn't hesitate. But I did make him help me build a wedding arch from scratch. Old habits die hard.